Excuse me. Hello, everybody. My name is Chris Wood. Anybody that might tune in, anybody that does, thank you for doing so. I am on here for a very serious, important matter. I am a full physical brain injury, skull split, body mutilation, lung and kidney damage, injure, torture, medical blacklisted, treatment refusal, file falsified, false arrested, kidnapped, sex assaulted, tortured, slave traffic, attempted homicide victim for revenge retaliation of Lennox and Addington, Ontario provincial police for speaking of their crimes, the human trafficking and homeless exploitation for monetary gain from a place called the Morning Star Mission in Napanee. As a result, August of 2019, ex-O.p.p chief on the corner of Center and Bridge Street in Napanee, Ontario, waved at me. A black truck pulled up, pointed something, they shot me. Guilty of attempted homicide with intent to commit, guilty of my identity theft, being involved with my identity theft. He is guilty of torture crimes. He is guilty of slave trafficking. He, Staff Sergeants, years 2019, 2021, kidnapping, sodomy, sex assault. Shannon Cork, Constable Ward, Dave Weiss, Robert Lucas. He's a cop or an ex-cop O.p.p that said he could fuck me, kill me, get away with it. Money Badge Family Town Council. He was right. Stacy, a mental health worker, was Napanee Daily Tea Company, now Kingston AMHS. And a woman named Shelley Hafner, human trafficking, sex slavery trafficking, kidnapping, false arrest, medical blacklisting, file falsifications, treatment refusals, criminal doctors who are criminally negligent involved in co-committing and covering up crimes for themselves, for doctors, and for O.p.p accomplices. Dr. Margie V, aka Tatiana V. Name and file falsifier, medical blacklister, and girlfriend to Stacy, now AMHS. Dr. Joy Hadley, Dr. Barton, Dr. Waldron, Dr. Pritchard, Dr. McGregor, ex-CEO Covey Duck, and Patient Relations Brown, all guilty of criminal negligence with intent to commit and cover up crimes for themselves that they are guilty of and everyone else. Organized trafficking. Justice of the peace is involved. Threats, intimidations, accusations, false arrest, and arrest refusals. Accomplices, ex-inmates, drug addicts, drug traffickers, sex offenders, sex slave traffickers who are guilty of stalking, injuring, torturing, identity thefts, framings, frauds, and homicides, stalking and homicides. A guy named Bill Woldridge lives at 149 Center Street North, approximately 65 to 70 years old, has many alias names. Bill Woldridge, Bill Cooldridge, Bill Delarosable. Stephen Mavis, which is a name used, an alias name of a person that is a wanted inmate walkaway escapee. He also uses James Bubbles and Robert Cross. He also thinks that he is Harry Potter, believes that he and I were switched at birth. I am 52. He is in his 60s, almost 70s. Believes that he is my dad and was criminally stalking and calling my mother. Mom caused her death in 2020 through O.p.p Spencer Mills and Stacy, the mental health worker, now Kingston AMHS. Blair Frederick Hardy, he is, and Bill Woldridge, whatever, he is guilty of also sex slavery trafficking. He was the one that was stalking children at Tim Hortons daily for O.p.p ex-chief sex slavery. There is Bill Woldridge, Blair Frederick Hardy. He is guilty of criminal stalking. He is guilty of my identity theft with the intent to commit. He's guilty of brain injuring me. He is a meth trafficker. He is guilty of financial thefts and frauds, welfare, disability, pension thefts and frauds, insurance frauds, bank frauds, rapes, drug trafficking, drug lacing, and homicides in Napanee. He is the boss to O.p.p, co-offender and accomplice in Napanee, Ontario, leader of the Hardy Boys gang with the one known as Bill Woldridge. There is a Robert Barry and his son Brandon, who are guilty of torture crimes against me and attempted homicide with intent to commit, guilty of being involved with my identity theft. He is a sex slave trafficker. He is a truck driver and a possible serial killer. Bert the Hitman Hustler. He is a alleged NHL hockey player for the Philadelphia Flyers and Hartford Whalers. He is a pill trafficker. He is a sex slave trafficker. He is a sex offender. He is guilty of torture crimes, criminal stalking, being involved with my identity theft, and guilty of attempted murder with intent to commit. Jason Gimpy, two-step Van Alstyne. He is a inbred crackhead, fall down piece of shit garbage. He is approximately 45 years old. He's guilty of being involved with my identity theft. He's guilty of attempted homicide with intent to commit identity theft, disability, and insurance frauds. Tyler Teabag Lake, he is guilty of torturing and killing my dog in 2023, guilty of torture crimes on me, guilty of attempted homicide. Raymond LeBlanc, guilty of criminal stalking, guilty of torture crimes on me, being involved with my identity theft, and guilty of attempted homicide with intent to commit. Harry Hartwick, he is guilty of actually, he's a child groomer, he's a child abuser, he is guilty of very serious crimes against me, even as a child. He is guilty of being involved with my skull deforming, he is being involved with my identity theft, and attempted homicide with intent to commit. His nephew, Dale Hartwick, who is guilty of attempted homicide, being involved with my identity theft with the intent to commit for drop charges for a stabbing he committed against his ex-wife or wife's boyfriend. And Dale Hartwick's wife or boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, Tony Anthony Axel Rose Hearns. He goes by Tony Hearns, Axel Rose Hearns, and Tony Montana because he is the bad guy. He is guilty of attempted paralyzing me, guilty of sex assaults. He is guilty of torture crimes. He is guilty of attempted homicide with intent to commit with and for his boyfriend, wife, or girlfriend, Dale. These are all O.p.p sex offenders, sex slave traffickers, drug addicts. They are the ones that O.p.p are charging $22,000 for: extortion, co-accomplices, lies, time buying, cover-ups, arrest refusals, false arrest, extortions have all taken place while I have been medically blacklisted to the point where I need either a doctor's note or I need to either to get medical help now go to Quebec, down east, or to Manitoba. I am medically blacklisted in the province of Ontario. Compliments of one Dr. Tatiana V. She is a possible serial killer, and I am holding her accountable as a doctor and falsifying my medical file, assuring this against me for 5 years fucking crimes, having me falsely charged to prevent anything legal on doctors or anyone else criminally involved in an attempt to block me from anything on them criminally. Organized trafficking, framings, false arrest, and homicides and cover-ups, drug lacing murders through their accomplices between Napanee and Kingston, and is just being labeled as a person buying bad drugs and overdosing from it. It's being done with intent to commit those homicides that's being covered up. They are very seriously dangerous. I am also the end of my bloodline as well. Nobody is arrestable. Damage is done. O.p.p. as it stands, you're guilty, and the rest are guilty of not only murdering my mother, having two of my dogs killed, but you are guilty of murdering the entire Wood bloodline by doing this to me. All for revenge, retaliation for me speaking of O.p.p. crimes once again. Never do that, Napanee. Your entire bloodline, your family, and everybody else will be tortured and killed. It will be covered up. Your legal, your medical, your human rights will be taken from them. Every word I said is 100% true. Every word I've said can be 100% proven as it stands right now. I have no feeling in my fucking head. I get complete numbness on a daily basis. No matter what happens to me, there is not a thing I can do. So this is how O.p.p. frame. This is how O.p.p. traffic. This is how O.p.p. are murdering their victims very, very successfully in Napanee, Ontario. Congratulations, you pieces of shit, for me speaking up and trying to save lives. You are guilty of multiple homicides for revenge retaliation. Each and every one of you cops, doctors, and your accomplices, one way or another, I will get you arrested. I will bring criminal civil lawsuits against you, and I will assure you spend the rest of your lives in prisons for what you fucking done to me. For revenge. Using your pieces of shit. Seriously splitting my skull, changing my fucking identity, completely and totally brain injuring me, mutilating my body while blaming me for doing it. Through your fucking lies. Congratulations. When people disappear, it is through the O.p.p, through doctors who are criminally involved once again in aiding and covering up crimes for these bastards. Families are murdered and missing. It is the cops. Kidnap victims, sex slave traffic victims. The 401 is a perfect place for it in Napanee through the cops. Their accomplices. Gateway to Ottawa, gateway to Toronto, gateway to the U.S. and other places. Public beware. I had no association with any cops named prior because I had no criminal record or reason to be associated with them prior to being shot. And speaking of O.p.p. crimes since 2019, beware because damages are done. You are guilty one way or another, O.p.p. and your fucking boys, of murders, simple as that, and you are going to answer for it, not a threat. No more getting away with what you're doing, using your badges and doctors using their credentials. I am not taking a fall, and I am not losing my life for Jason Van Alstyne, for Blair Hardy, for Bill Wooldridge, for Tyler Lake, for Dale Hartwick, Tony Hearns, or any other O.p.p. accomplices because I cannot get fucking help. Hit the like, share, subscribe, especially share because this is very serious and important. Lives are being lost and more lives are going to be lost unless something is done about these bastards. And yes, I can prove my crimes.